high above the clouds, on a land where the earth touches the sky, lies a place unlike any other on our planet. This is Tibet, known as the roof of the world, a land of snow-capped peaks and endless horizons where the air is thin but the spirit is boundless. For centuries, Tibet has stirred the imagination of travelers, explorers, and seekers of wisdom. But Tibet is not only about breathtaking landscapes, it is a living canvas of spirituality, culture, and resilience. Here, sacred mountains rise like guardians of ancient beliefs. Monasteries crown the hills, filled with the sound of chants and the flutter of prayer flags carried by the wind. Every corner whispers stories of kings, monks, pilgrims, and wanderers who have left their mark on this mystical land. In this journey, we'll step into a world where myth meets reality. We'll discover lakes so blue they seem otherworldly, rivers that nourish half of Asia, and cliffs that hold the secrets of millions of years. We'll enter palaces that once housed Dalai Lamas, walk through markets where nomads trade yak butter and barley, and listen to legends of hidden kingdoms and snow creatures that still capture the imagination. Tibet is more than a destination, it is an experience. A place that asks you not just to see, but to feel, to breathe deeply, to slow down, to look inward. In the next chapters, we will uncover its natural wonders, its spiritual treasures, its rich culture, and its everyday life. From the dazzling heights of Mount Everest to the serene waters of Lake Namtso, from the wisdom of Buddhist philosophy to the humble warmth of Tibetan homes, this is a journey that will transform the way you see the world. So, are you ready to discover the wonders of Tibet? Let's begin. Tibet is often called the roof of the world, and the moment you look across its vast plateau, you understand why. Sitting more than 4,000 meters above sea level, it is the highest region on Earth. The skies feel so close, the clouds drift low, and the air is thin yet sharp, making every sound and color stand out. The land is tough and bare in places, yet it glows with a timeless beauty that leaves you in awe. Towering over this plateau are the mighty Himalayas. At their heart stands the most famous peak of all, Mount Everest. Tibetans call it Chomolungma, the mother goddess of the world. For climbers, it is the greatest challenge, while for Tibetans, it is a sacred guardian. From the Tibetan side, Everest looks like a wall of rock and ice reaching into the heavens. Even standing at its base, you feel small, humbled by its power. But Everest is only one part of Tibet's natural treasures. Scattered across the land are lakes that shine like gems. Lake Namtso, the heavenly lake, reflects the sky so clearly it feels unreal. Pilgrims walk around its shores, believing each step brings blessings. Yamdrok Lake glows in brilliant blues, winding through the plateau like a painted stroke, while Lake Manasaravar draws pilgrims of many faiths who believe its waters wash away sins and bring renewal. From Tibet's highlands flow the great rivers of Asia. The Brahmaputra, the Mekong, the Yangtze, and the Indus all begin here, carrying life-giving waters to billions across the continent. Standing at their sources feels like witnessing the birth of civilizations. Even in the harshest corners, life thrives. On the cold grasslands, wild yaks roam in herds, Tibetan antelope race across the plains, and the elusive snow leopard moves silently through the cliffs. Rarely seen, it reminds you that Tibet remains one of the wildest places on Earth. For Tibetans, nature is not separate from life, it is part of their spirit. Every mountain is a protector, every lake a blessing, every river a lifeline. Tibet challenges the body with its altitude and cold, but it also stirs the soul with its beauty and sacredness. In Tibet, the land and the spirit are deeply connected. Every mountain, every river, and even the wind itself carries a sense of the sacred. For the Tibetan people, nature is not just beautiful scenery, it is part of their faith. The mountains are protectors, the lakes are holy, and the sky is filled with prayers carried by the wind. At the center of life here is Tibetan Buddhism. It is a tradition built on compassion and kindness, teaching that all living beings are connected. This faith is visible everywhere you go. Monasteries rise on hilltops, glowing white against the blue sky. Inside, the sound of monks chanting fills the air, while rows of prayer wheels spin slowly, sending blessings out into the world. The most famous of these holy places is the Potala Palace in Lhasa. Once the home of the Dalai Lama, it looks like a shining fortress built into the side of a mountain. Its red and white walls seem to reach up toward the heavens. Walking through its halls, you find golden statues, ancient books, and colorful murals telling stories of Tibet's long history. Not far away, the Jokang Temple stands as the most sacred temple in the country. Pilgrims from across Tibet travel for months to reach it, often bowing to the ground with every step as an act of pure devotion. Spiritual life in Tibet also shines in small, everyday details. Bright prayer flags are tied across bridges, passes, and rooftops. As the wind blows, the flags are believed to spread prayers and good wishes far and wide. Prayer wheels spin in the hands of villagers, each turn sending countless blessings into the air. Even walking around a temple or a sacred mountain is considered a form of prayer. One of the most holy places of all is Mount Kailash. Rising like a perfect pyramid above the plateau, it is seen as sacred by many religions: Buddhists, Hindus, Jains, and followers of the ancient Bon faith. Pilgrims walk around the mountain on a 50-kilometer path, some completing the journey in a few days, others bowing to the ground with each step taking weeks. It is said that walking around Kailash even once can wash away the sins of a lifetime. Tibet's festivals also bring its faith to life. During Losar, the Tibetan New Year, families light butter lamps, share food, and celebrate with joy and laughter. The Saga Dawa festival honors the life of the Buddha with great gatherings of pilgrims who circle temples, spin prayer wheels, and chant together. The Shoton festival is a celebration where giant paintings of the Buddha are displayed on monastery walls, while people sing, dance, and enjoy bowls of yogurt, a symbol of the harvest. In Tibet, spirituality is not hidden away in temples or books. It is part of everyday life. It is in the way people greet each morning with prayer, in the flags that color the mountain passes, and in the quiet devotion of pilgrims who walk for weeks to reach a holy site. Here, faith is not separate from life. It is life itself. Life in Tibet is shaped by both the land and the spirit. At such high altitudes, survival has never been easy, but the Tibetan people have created a culture that is rich, warm, and deeply connected to their surroundings. Walking through a Tibetan village, you quickly notice the mix of color and tradition. Homes are usually built from stone or whitewashed mud, with flat roofs where families dry crops in the sun. Windows are decorated with wooden frames painted in bright patterns, giving even the simplest house a welcoming feel. Clothing here reflects both tradition and practicality. Many Tibetans wear the chuba, a long, warm robe tied around the waist. In the freezing mornings, people keep it wrapped tightly, and when the sun grows strong, they loosen it, letting one arm hang free. Jewelry made of turquoise, coral, and silver is common. especially among women, and each piece often carries a story passed down through generations. Food in Tibet is simple but hearty, built to give strength in the cold. The most important staple is tsampa, roasted barley flour that people mix with tea or butter to make a thick, filling dough. Another famous drink is yak butter tea, salty, creamy, and warming. It may surprise outsiders, but for Tibetans it is comfort in a cup. Steamed dumplings called momos are popular too, filled with meat or vegetables and shared among friends and family. Meals are never just about food. They are about community, laughter, and sharing warmth in a harsh land. Animals play a central role in Tibetan life, especially the yak. Strong, dependable, and perfectly adapted to the high plateau, yaks provide milk, butter, wool, and even fuel from their dried dung. They are companions as much as they are helpers, carrying loads across mountain paths and supplying families with almost everything they need to survive. Music, dance, and art are also deeply woven into the culture. Thankar paintings, bright, detailed scrolls of Buddhist deities, hang in monasteries and homes, serving both as art and as spiritual teaching. Traditional songs often tell stories of love, mountains, and faith, carried by the sound of long horns, drums, and bells. During festivals, villages come alive with circle dances, laughter, and the beating of drums that echo through the valleys. Despite the challenges of modern life and the changes that have reached the plateau, Tibetans hold tightly to their traditions. They balance the old and the new, carrying smartphones in one hand and prayer beads in the other. In the streets of Lhasa, you might see young people in jeans walking beside elderly pilgrims spinning prayer wheels. This mix of modern energy and timeless faith makes Tibet feel like a place where past and present live side by side in harmony. In Tibet, culture is not something kept in museums. It is lived every day. It is in the way tea is poured, in the way people greet one another with a smile, and in the way families gather around a fire on cold nights. It is simple, warm, and deeply human, reflecting the strength and spirit of a people who have thrived for centuries in one of the most challenging yet magical places on Earth. At the heart of Tibet lies Lhasa, the capital and spiritual center of the region. The very name Lhasa means place of the gods, and walking through its streets, you quickly understand why. Above the city towers the majestic Potala Palace, a vast structure of red and white walls rising like a crown on the hillside. Once home to the Dalai Lama, it is now a symbol of Tibet itself. Inside are golden statues, ancient scriptures, and murals telling stories that span centuries. From its rooftop, the views stretch across the city and out to the mountains, reminding every visitor that this palace was built not just as a home, but as a bridge between heaven and earth. Not far away lies the Jokang Temple, the most sacred shrine in Tibet. Its golden roof gleams in the sunlight, and its halls are filled with the smell of butter lamps burning day and night. Around the temple runs Barkor Street, a circular path where pilgrims walk endlessly, spinning prayer wheels as they move. Many have traveled for months or even years to reach this spot, bowing to the ground with every step of their journey. Watching them circle the Jokang, their devotion is felt as strongly as the chanting voices that fill the air. Further west stands Shigatse, Tibet's second largest city and home to Tashilhunpo Monastery. This monastery has long been the seat of the Panchen Lama, one of the most important figures in Tibetan Buddhism. Its vast halls and golden rooftops shine under the sun, and its courtyards echo with the sound of monks debating, a unique tradition where ideas of philosophy and wisdom are exchanged with lively hand gestures and claps. Visitors are often amazed not only by the monastery's grandeur, but also by the energy and rhythm of the debates that bring learning to life. In Gyantse, another jewel of Tibetan culture can be found, the famous Kumbum Stupa. With its many levels and hundreds of chapels, it is one of the most remarkable religious structures in the region. Each level reveals different paintings and statues, creating the feeling of walking upward through layers of spiritual worlds. The nearby fortress adds a dramatic backdrop, standing proudly on a rocky hill, a reminder of Tibet's long history of resilience. Far to the north, beyond the cities, lies a place that seems to belong to another world, Mount Kailash. Its pyramid-like peak rises alone in the western plateau, considered sacred not only by Buddhists, but also by Hindus, Jains, and followers of the Bon faith. Pilgrims from many nations and traditions gather here, circling the mountain on foot in one of the most powerful journeys of faith in the world. To walk the 50 kilometers around Kailash is seen as an act of deep devotion, said to cleanse sins and bring spiritual renewal. Tibet's natural wonders also offer destinations unlike anywhere else. The dazzling white cliffs of Mount Everest on the northern side draw travelers and climbers from across the globe. The North Base Camp, accessible by road, gives even ordinary visitors the chance to stand in the shadow of the highest peak on Earth. Here, prayer flags flutter in the cold wind, and the view of Everest rising into the sky is one that leaves a mark on every heart. And then there are the lakes. Yamdrok, Namtso, and Manasaravar are not only stunning to see, but deeply holy to the people who live here. Standing on their shores, with the sky reflecting in the water and mountains surrounding you, it is easy to feel a sense of peace that words cannot fully capture. For Tibetans, these lakes are living beings, guardians of the land, and places of prayer and renewal. Each city, each monastery, and each landmark in Tibet tells a story. Together, they create a tapestry of faith, culture, and history that cannot be found anywhere else in the world. To visit them is not only to see incredible sights, but to walk through a land where every stone, every prayer flag, and every mountain carries meaning. Beyond its mountains and monasteries, Tibet holds a treasure of myths and legends that give the land an even deeper sense of wonder. For centuries, stories have been passed down from generation to generation, blending history, faith, and imagination into tales that still inspire awe today. One of the most famous legends is that of Shambhala, the hidden kingdom. Tibetans believe that somewhere beyond the snow-capped mountains lies a paradise untouched by time. In this secret land, people live in peace, wisdom, and happiness, free from suffering and conflict. Travelers and explorers have searched for Shambhala for centuries, but no one has ever found it. For many, the search itself is the lesson, that Shambhala is not just a place on a map, but a state of mind, a reminder to look for peace and compassion within ourselves. Another story that stirs the imagination is that of the Yeti, the mysterious snow creature said to roam the high mountains. Locals tell tales of a giant, ape-like figure moving silently through snowy valleys and rocky cliffs. Some describe it as a guardian spirit of the Himalayas, while others see it as a wild being beyond human reach. Footprints have been found in the snow, and travelers have carried back stories of strange encounters. But the Yeti remains one of Tibet's greatest mysteries. Real or legend, it adds to the magic of the mountains. Mysticism in Tibet also takes form in the ancient practice of oracles. For centuries, state oracles were believed to give guidance to rulers and spiritual leaders, speaking in trance-like states with wisdom from beyond the ordinary world. Even today, some monasteries keep this tradition alive. with oracles entering deep meditation to answer questions about the future or to offer advice in times of difficulty. For Tibetans, this is not simply superstition, it is another way of connecting with the unseen, with forces larger than human understanding. Pilgrimage itself carries a mystical power here. To walk around a sacred mountain, to bow step by step along a dusty road, or to spin a prayer wheel thousands of times is not just ritual, but a journey into the heart. In Tibet, people believe these acts bring not only blessings for themselves, but also for all living beings. The idea that one person's devotion can help the whole world speaks to the deep sense of unity at the core of Tibetan belief. These legends and practices give Tibet a feeling unlike any other place. It is not only a land of mountains and rivers, it is also a land of hidden kingdoms, mysterious creatures, and spiritual voices carried on the wind. Whether you believe in them or not, these stories shape the soul of Tibet and make every journey here feel touched by magic. Tibet is often seen as a land frozen in time, but the truth is that it is also part of the modern world. Cities like Lhasa now have busy streets filled with shops, cafes, and markets where tradition and modern life blend together. On one corner, you may see pilgrims circling the Yokang temple, spinning prayer wheels and chanting softly. Just a few steps away, young people gather in internet cafes or scroll through their smartphones, connected to the rest of the world by technology. This balance between old and new is one of the most fascinating parts of modern Tibet. The region has also been shaped by new roads and railways. The Qinghai-Tibet Railway, sometimes called the Sky Train, is one of the highest railways in the world. It cuts across mountains and frozen plains, connecting Lhasa with the rest of China and making it easier than ever for visitors to reach the plateau. Buses, cars, and motorbikes share the roads with horse carts and yak caravans, showing how old and new forms of travel live side by side. Yet even with these changes, Tibet holds tightly to its traditions. Monasteries still serve as the heart of spiritual life, and festivals continue to draw crowds who celebrate with music, dance, and devotion. In homes, butter lamps are lit each evening, filling rooms with a soft golden glow. Families gather to share sampa and yak butter tea, just as they have for centuries. Modern life has arrived, but the old ways remain strong, giving Tibet a character that feels timeless. At the same time, Tibet faces challenges. The melting of glaciers threatens the great rivers that flow from the plateau, raising concerns about water for millions of people across Asia. Tourism, while bringing opportunities, also risks disturbing the fragile environment and culture. And with modern development comes the question of how to protect Tibet's identity while still opening doors to the world. Despite these challenges, the spirit of Tibet shines through. The people here are known for their warmth, resilience, and deep sense of community. Whether in a quiet village or a busy city street, you feel the same gentle kindness. Smiles are freely shared, and strangers are welcomed with tea and conversation. It is this spirit that keeps Tibet's culture alive, no matter how much the world around it changes. Tibet today is a place where the past and present walk side by side. Prayer flags flutter above highways. Monks use smartphones to capture photos of sacred sites, and children learn both ancient stories and modern lessons in school. It is a land that honors its traditions while stepping carefully into the future, carrying the wisdom of centuries into the modern age. Everyday life in Tibet is simple, yet full of meaning. In the early mornings, before the sun rises high, the streets of Lhasa and small villages alike begin to stir. Pilgrims walk quietly toward temples, spinning prayer wheels as they go, their breaths visible in the cold air. In homes, families prepare yak butter tea, its salty, rich smell filling the rooms, while children hurry to school wrapped in warm chubas, the traditional robe. Markets are at the heart of Tibetan life. They are lively places where colours, sounds and scents mix together. Stalls are filled with bright fabrics, carved jewellery and bags of barley flour. Vendors call out cheerfully, selling dried yak cheese, fresh vegetables and stacks of bread. Bargaining is done with smiles and laughter, and neighbours often stop to chat, turning shopping into a social gathering. In the countryside, life is slower but no less rich. Many families still live as nomads, moving with the seasons to find fresh grass for their herds of yaks and sheep. Their tents, made of black yak hair, are sturdy and warm, built to withstand the winds of the plateau. Inside, the fire crackles as butter lamps flicker, and guests are always welcomed with tea and a bowl of tsampa. For these families, the yak is not just an animal, it is life itself, providing milk, butter, wool, and even fuel from its dung. Children grow up close to nature, running across open fields and playing games under the wide sky. Their laughter carries on the wind, a reminder that even in the harshest environments, joy finds a way. Education is important, and many children now attend schools where they learn both Tibetan traditions and modern subjects. Some still dream of becoming monks, carrying on the ancient teachings, while others hope to study in cities and bring new knowledge back to their villages. Evenings in Tibet are calm and peaceful. Families gather around the fire, sharing stories and meals after a long day of work. Butter lamps are lit as prayers are whispered, and outside the stars spread endlessly across the sky, brighter here than almost anywhere else on Earth. Life is not easy, but it is full of rhythm and connection. Every meal, every prayer, every shared smile strengthens the sense of community. This daily life is what gives Tibet its true soul. Beyond the temples, mountains, and festivals, it is the kindness of its people, the warmth of their homes, and the strength of their traditions that make this land unforgettable. It is a way of life shaped by nature and faith, carried with dignity and joy, day after day, generation after generation. For travelers, visiting Tibet is not just a trip. It is an experience that stays in the heart forever. Every step feels like walking into another world, where nature, culture, and spirituality blend together in ways that cannot be found anywhere else. One of the most unforgettable journeys is to Mount Everest Base Camp on the Tibetan side. The road winds across high passes and open plains, each turn revealing a new view more stunning than the last. At the camp itself, colourful prayer flags flutter against the backdrop of the tallest mountain on Earth. The sight of Everest rising into the sky, its peak shining above the clouds, is something no picture can truly capture. Standing there, you feel both small and deeply connected to the power of nature. Another powerful experience is a pilgrimage around Mount Kailash. Even if you are not a pilgrim, walking alongside hundreds of Tibetans who bow with each step or spin prayer wheels as they climb the paths is unforgettable. The journey is not just physical, but deeply spiritual. The cold winds bite, the trails are steep, yet the atmosphere is filled with peace and devotion. Completing even part of this walk leaves visitors with a sense of calm and renewal. The lakes of Tibet also offer magical moments for travelers. Watching the sunrise over Lake Namtso is like watching the sky and earth become one. The water glows with colors that change every minute, from silver to deep blue, as the mountains reflect in its still surface. At Yamdrok Lake, standing on the high cliffs above, the lake's shape spreads below like a shining hand painted by the gods. These are places where silence speaks louder than words. cultural experiences are just as moving. In monasteries like Sera and Drepung, visitors can sit quietly as monks debate with loud claps and sharp gestures, a tradition that has trained minds for centuries. In smaller villages, you might be invited inside a family's home to drink yak butter tea, a simple gesture that carries deep warmth and hospitality. Watching prayer flags being hung on mountain passes or joining pilgrims as they walk around a temple gives travelers a chance to feel part of the rhythm of life here. Festivals add even more color to the experience. During the Shotant festival, huge painted scrolls of the Buddha are rolled down the walls of monasteries, glowing in the morning sun as crowds gather in awe. During Losar, the Tibetan New Year, the streets are filled with joy, dancing and laughter while families exchange blessings for the year ahead. These moments are not staged for tourists, they are real celebrations of culture and faith. Even the simple act of traveling across the plateau is an adventure. Long drives reveal endless plains dotted with yaks, small villages with whitewashed homes, and mountain passes strung with prayer flags. On quiet nights, camping under the stars, the sky opens wide, filled with millions of stars shining brighter than anywhere else on Earth. The stillness is so deep that it feels like time itself has slowed. For anyone who visits, Tibet is not only about the sights, it is about how it makes you feel. It is the silence of the mountains, the kindness of the people, the devotion of the pilgrims, and the magic of legends that live in every valley. To travel here is to take a journey not only through a land, but also through the heart. Tibet is more than a place. It is a feeling. It is the sight of mountains rising above the clouds, the sound of prayer wheels spinning in the wind, and the warmth of people who live close to the land and their faith. Every journey here is not only about what you see, but also about what you feel deep inside. From the glowing lakes to the mighty Himalayas, from the chants of monks to the laughter of children, Tibet offers wonders that touch both the eyes and the soul. It is a land where nature and spirit walk together, reminding us of life's beauty, simplicity, and strength. For those who visit, Tibet is never just a memory. It becomes a part of you, a quiet voice that stays long after you leave, calling you back to the roof of the world.